I think we all know that the Secret Service has a pretty daunting job, but we all want to know one question.
How did a 20-year-old loner with a week's notice pick the absolute best location to assassinate President Trump when the entire Secret Service missed it?
That question will be ringing bells for a very long time. I mean, conspiracy theorists are eating everywhere. They're trying to wonder, hey, how did that guy get to that roof? How far was the range actually compared to what they're putting out? There's so many variables as to what we want to know, what we the people want to know, and that they're just not giving us. They have been questioning this Secret Service director for a very long time. I mean, at least over the course of a couple of days, they have been questioning her, and there is no doubt in my mind that she is not given all the answers that she needs to give us. And with all that being said, there's no doubt that they have been pestering her and asking her, "Hey, what happened? What's been going on?" And that she has just not been able to give us any of these answers. And with that being said, after days of questioning her, questioning if she was the right person to do the job or not, finally she came out with this statement. Yes, the statement states that she is going to be stepping down from the FBI, or from the Secret Service. I'm sorry. Um, she fulfilled her duty, but in actuality, it's like the guy that was questioning her, that most recent one, he said, "How are we gonna know if you're gonna protect him from somebody who was a professional?" And I think that that question was super serious, and it was one of the questions that needed to be asked of her because if a 20-year-old can get on top of a roof and actually be a super threat to the president because he was outside of your range, then how are we going to expect that somebody that got into this country legally or illegally and was planning on hurting him and just causing chaos, regardless of if he was going to be killed or not? Because let's be real, you're going to be killed in those situations. How are we going to expect that a professional wouldn't have been able to take that shot and make that shot? That is a question that needed to be asked, and she could not answer that, and that's the reason why she's resigning, honestly.
Investigation into Director Cheat or former Director Cheatle's role in the attempted assassination of President Trump. There may be criminal charges coming in the future. I think she showed up to the oversight committee, refused to answer our questions, did not bring any of the information that we asked her to bring and subpoenaed. She came in yesterday, participated in a full cover-up, and then resigned today. I think that speaks a message loud and clear.
That video alone lets me know that these people are not done with her. They want answers and they want to know exactly what was going on in her head. She said that she had been with the Secret Service for a number of years. So, in my head, there's just no way that you miss things like that. And I'm sure that's the same thing that everybody is kind of asking themselves. And honestly, you don't want these conspiracy theories to pop up and have people wondering, man, was that an inside job? Did the director of the Secret Service let that happen, claiming that that was outside of their territory? You do not want these conspiracy theories popping up because then you're going to have people will be like, hey, well, what's stopping them from not protecting him the next time? And then, maybe even taking matters into their own hand. And honestly, as Americans, we don't need those type of troubles. We don't, we, the Secret Service person is supposed to make sure everybody feels safe enough to where they know that they're doing their job. No one should have to go to any of these rallies with their own gun or with their own, preparation or whatever they might have in their mind because the Secret Service is supposed to do that. That they had that on lockdown for such a long time that there's no way that she let that slip through the crack. You don't want people to panic. In my opinion, you do not want people to panic. There's people already coming up with these crazy conspiracy theories. If you haven't seen them before, you need to see some of them. And even if you don't like AOC, she actually made a really good point on her Twitter, where she explained that there's no way. It's pretty much the same question that everybody's been asking. Like, why is the perimeter shorter than his AR-15? That is a very, very popular gun in the United States, and pretty much anybody can get their hands on it as long as you're not a felon. So the fact that he had that and people are actually agreeing with AOC, that tells you a lot that you need to know. Even though she could be just, kind of bringing up that question because she is in favor of banning the AR-15, it doesn't matter. She is right completely about that, and a lot of people agree with her, whether you're on the left side or the right side. There's just no way that they didn't account for that. And to say that It took them 60 whole days to even come up with an answer or a viable strategy as to how they wanted to approach the situation. Besides just we messed up, then they should have came out and said that. If they, I mean, people would have still probably asked for her resignation, but she did completely mess up, and there's just so many questions across the board. There's more things to come in going and fighting for what just happened because Donald Trump is a pretty is the highest political person that you need to be protecting right now. And even in her hearing, she stated that she did not have as much security on Donald Trump that the regular sitting president would have had. And that right there is just like, a lot of people don't know about those things. And they probably wondering, well, why? Why didn't he have as much security as anybody else would have had? And there is no answer for that besides he's not the regular sitting president. But she did explain that there are certain circumstances and certain threat levels that she did take into account that just was not there. Clearly was there, and we all saw it live. And there's just no answer for any of that. And it took her 60 whole days to come up with some stuff. She's been getting questioned for a very long time. And she still cannot answer any of those questions.
Our reaction, the immediate reaction to her resignation, is that it is overdue. She should have done this at least a week ago. I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see that she has heeded the call of both Republicans and Democrats. Now we have to pick up the pieces. We have to rebuild the American people's faith and trust in the Secret Service as an agency. It has an incredibly important responsibility in protecting presidents, former presidents, and other officials in the executive branch, and we've got a lot of work to do. The task force that we'll be putting together is going to be very important. As I said, they have three responsibilities: to investigate what happened, the debacle that happened 2 Saturdays ago, to hold those accountable. It certainly was the director, Cheatle, but there may be others in the line of authority who are also culpable in what happened and the errors and mistakes there. And finally, to ensure that those mistakes do not happen again. The stakes are too high. It's a very dangerous time. We need the Secret Service to be to be performing at the top of their game.
Overall, the fact that there's so many people who is trying to put logic into this, and the logic actually kind of works out, especially if you are the head of the Secret Service and that you're head of that detail. There's just no questions that could be asked or answered, in her opinion, that's just gonna justify what happened. And I think the most information that she has, or the biggest I guess excuse that she has, is that there was a sloped roof, and that's the reason why they weren't able to find the shooter. Or that rather, I think she also said that she didn't want to put her men up there on a sloped roof because it was probably not stationary. That is just absolutely insane. And there's people that's making fun of her everywhere, and there's people that's making just way too many conspiracy theories. So in actuality, she just needs to admit that she messed up, and this is how she admits that she messed up. But what do you guys think? There's a lot of people that's gonna be asking these questions for years to come. It's probably gonna be one of those things that's gonna be in the history books when we all get older, that our kids are gonna read about. And even though it was a failed assassination, who's going to take over from her spot? Who's going to take over? Who's going to put in new countermeasures to make sure things like that doesn't happen anymore? Because that is such a dangerous thing. We do not need the chaos that would have erupted in America. And honestly, she needs to be held accountable and probably jailed, depending on the investigations that happens after they figure out what really happened. Somebody's probably going to come to the limelight and talk about it. Somebody probably going to come and say, hey, actually, this is what happened, this is what we were told. As of now, no one's sure what's going to happen. But until the next video, Jibril out.